Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Producer's Perspective Live. My name is Ken Davenport. I am coming to you live from my home office, not my actual office, my home office here on the Upper West Side of New York City, where, as Governor Cuomo said yesterday, the worst is over. Still pretty tense out there, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Lots of talk about when we reopen this city and when we reopen this country. So we're getting there. Reminder, stay safe, stay healthy, stay home, stay home. I think I have the day right. What is today? Today is Wednesday. I'm getting there. I'm learning. I'm very excited to have a very special guest today. My partner on one of the one that I am most personally and professionally proud of. It changed my life, my professional life, my personal life, just how I feel about people in general. The Deaf West Spring Awakening was one of the most enlightening experiences of my life. We are going to have the artistic director of Deaf West here on the show tonight. I just got called out for not having a show shirt on because I didn't know it was Wednesday. I really didn't know. I forgot. Again, I keep thinking it's Thursday. I'll wear something tomorrow. I'll wear a no shirt tomorrow. Tomorrow, everybody, it's No Shirt Thursday here on the Producer's Perspective Live. No, I'm going to wear a shirt. Okay, lots continue to go on. We had the Lortel nominations announced virtually, which was awesome news, right? Look at that. They were announced. Good, congratulations to all of those. Is this a sign that we will have some more virtual awards this year? I don't know. Oh, my wife just said, my wife is commenting, no, nope, no. She says, absolutely not. No shirt Thursday. It's not allowed. Wait a minute. Shouldn't she be excited with me without a shirt on? Anyway. Will we see more virtual awards? Could we have some? Could we have a drama desk? Could we have a Tony Awards, a virtual Tony Awards? I don't think so, but we'll see. Is this a sign of things to come? As I said last night, there's a lot of streaming happening. I want to take a little poll. How many of you believe this streaming phenomenon? How many believe the streaming phenomenon will continue afterwards? How many of you believe that we will continue to have as much content streamed after this is over? So in other words, will we continue to get this much streaming content, or will it disappear? Will we now be hooked on it and want more of it, or will it go away? Let me know what you think. In the meantime, don't forget about the Actors Fund. The Actors Fund, where's that logo, Mary? There you go. Go to my Facebook page or hit that tip jar, or go to the actorsfund.org and donate if you can. Every little bit helps. On Thursday, that's tomorrow, on Thursday, I'm also teaching a webinar. What theater makers, how they should, oh my God, I'm just a mess tonight. Didn't know what day of the week is, 2 nights in a row. How theater makers can make the most of their quarantine. That's tomorrow night. Don't forget to sign up for that and join me. It's going to be a fun hour of productivity and development. Okay, we got to go on to our guest now. I'm very excited to have him here. I've missed him. I haven't seen him in a long time. Please welcome to the show, Mr. David DJ Kurs, the artistic director of Spring Awakening, and his interpreter, James. Welcome, guys. How are you?
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Yes. I do have to sign a little bit smaller, actually, because I'm in a smaller sign space here, but I'm doing great, Ken. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Are you in Los Angeles?
Yes, that's right. Still here in beautiful, sunny Southern California. Yeah.
What's the mood there, considering all of this? Everyone, New York is very tense right now still. How is the other big city in the country?
I think it's very similar, not the same, but we're all staying at home, and it's a little bit tense. You know, we're used to being outdoors here, the relaxed lifestyle of Southern California with the weather and all the parks and all of that. But now the parks and trails are closed, and nobody knows where to go except to our front yard, our backyard. And people are starting to sort of look at each other, but it's been hard on all of us and my family, but we are staying safe, and that is for the best. But how about your family, Ken? How's everyone?
We're good. We're going a little stir crazy like everybody. In New York, we don't have houses. You know, we have these small apartments. So not only is it very tense here because of the pandemic, but also we're all in a very small space. So it's twice as tense just because we're so compacted. So
yes, understood. You know, our friend Marley Matlin had a good joke the other day on Instagram. I believe it went something like this. She said, stay safe, use sign language, because of course, when you're talking to each other, you have those droplets coming out, whereas we don't have them coming off our fingers. So I hope us deaf folks are a little bit safer than the majority, but I hope everyone is fine. Yes.
It's a big marketing for the sign language. I love it.
Very good. You know, it is harder to read sign language with those masks on those. We rely so much on the facial expression and reading lips. And it's, you know, someone says, can you read my lips? And I say again. Or people come up and I have no idea if they're even talking to me. They're just looking at me. It's a very odd, surreal experience. I can't ask them to pull down their mask or very well reach out and pull it down. So.
And this is why I so loved working with you.
You know, we deaf community rely on access, of course, access to information. And when that's taken away, we start to fear our lives worse than any pandemic. I mean, the need to communicate. And it's been a fascinating time in our community. I'm watching all the posts on Facebook, and people are posting their vlogs, as we used to call them, and brave stories on their experience with the virus. And it's very sensitive information. And I understand that, you know, they have to let out that information or get information somehow, because it's very tough to access information through the medical community, hospitals, and so forth. You know, when you're in there and you have an interpreter, you're okay, but we're a forgotten group for sure on a lot of the posts, on up-to-date information. And we as a community are ready to jump on any information and ready to help out when we can if we just knew what was happening. So it's great to see how the community has come together through the social media and communicate what they know up to the minute, like you all are getting as well. And I think when I think of the origination of FaceTime and just using video relay, it's only been since 2003, 2004. And so this is all, you know, relatively new for the world, but not that it new for us. We use this every day. We use this type of technology that we're using right now to do this interview every day. And it's nice to see the rest of the world catching up to us for once.
So tell me, where were you when the virus started to get serious? What were you doing when you suddenly realized that this was going to change how you live and, of course, how you work?
Yeah, yes, we were, the moment before our dress rehearsal, actually, we were opening a new production here called the Orphe, the name of our play that we're putting up here. And we had opened it just 2 days before. So we were in dress rehearsal, and we got the information that Tom Hanks and his wife had the virus, and people were canceling shows. And at that moment, I knew that things were going to happen for us. I walked in, sat down, and watched the dress rehearsal, but I couldn't take notes. I couldn't watch the actors. For the 2 hours I sat there, I just thought about, is everybody safe? Are we doing the right thing being up here? And ultimately, the next day, I met with the other producers on this production. And after a short meeting, we decided to put it off. We realized also that these actors had worked so hard to put up this show. And we in California were ordered not to have gatherings of 50 or more. So we did our opening night again, but only 35 people were allowed in, because I think we had 8 people in the cast, plus the stage manager and other staff. So we did what we could to meet the 50 number. We had a great show. The actors delivered, and everything came together, and we closed on our opening night. So it was heartbreaking, and that's how it went down. But looking back on what is now a month ago, my mindset was a little bit different then. At that time, I was concerned personally. I was worried more about the loss of the production. I was worried about this and that business-wise. And, I didn't want to be the lowest grossing show we'd ever done. And things like that were on my mind. But looking back, the profit and loss statement is not that important. I'm happy that we did do the right thing at that time. And we're all still here. And thank God everyone connected with that is safe. No one in our company got sick. So we're very grateful for that.
Tell me about how Deaf West has been doing since our production of Spring Awakening on Broadway. Did that production help bring more attention to not only Deaf West, but also just deaf theater in general?
I think that production on Broadway, made waves that are still being felt for us today. I think that other companies in town felt that as well. And there are people who are starting around town or hiring the deaf actors that came out of that production. More roles are being written for deaf actors, for any deaf actors out there. That's one of the great things that came out of our collaboration with you. And we look for more great things in the future. A lot of the theaters after our production took a look. When we came home from Broadway, we were back at square one. We were still just a little theater company that could, and we persevere and did all the things we've always done. But we didn't know if the rest of the industry would experience that. And we just kept doing what we're doing and marching along. And it looks like they're realizing we're still here.
And are you focusing now on new plays or revivals with sign language? What's the focus for the theater going forward now?
Going forward, we've done a couple of plays since our time together. The bigger project have been musicals. Those take longer to put together. We've learned that. And now, thanks to you, and it's hard for us to get the rights to a lot of music now because people know us. We've become a little more high profile because of your help. But also we are continuing to produce musicals as well as other revivals and adaptations. In the past month, we have shifted focus just a little bit from our traditional theater company to, well, for example, last week we had a collaboration with a television show called Zoe's Playlist. Yes. And that's on NBC. We had a little song that we worked up for the show. This all happened pre-virus, but that episode just came out. And we've had a lot of goodwill for that for our company from that production or that show. And just last week, we worked with Kelly Clarkson on her new song. It's called I Dare You. And that's music video is done entirely in American Sign Language. So we had a lot of fun casting the performers, by video, having them send in their audition tapes. And it's been a great way to stay connected to the deaf talent that's out there during these times. And even though we're not putting up traditional shows, we're still out there and pushing the line, the boundary, as it were, for us to work with the industry as a whole. And we're also putting together our next theatrical production. We're supposed to have it in the fall. I don't think it's going to happen. So with the time we have left over, we're going to build our calendar for 2021 if we can make that happen. Now, then we'll do that now. Do you feel the same way? Are you looking ahead or are you in the moment? Where are you?
Yeah, it's the same thing here. Every time I go to make a decision, I'm now waiting 48 hours before I pull the trigger because something changes in that 48-hour period and I have to make a new decision. So I'm basically moving everything about 6 months forward. Like everything is just picking up, moving 6 months, and dropping down. And hopefully that's enough time to clear it out. What was the new show that you were doing in the fall?
I don't want to give away too much at this time, but it's a show that we did get the rights to. We got them officially, but the revival of the show is coming, and it's a drama. I'll tell you that much. But it's like you said, we're following your lead essentially. I mean, the theater industry looks to Broadway to see what's happening and as a business model, and I think. It's going to be great for our audience to get back to the theater. I think our audience loves the theater. I understand there's going to be a resistance to gathering. I think about that a lot, but I really admire that all that you do, and I know that Broadway is such a very important part of our culture. I think streaming is real. I think streaming may change the theater industry, perhaps forever, in good ways, I hope. Where I believe we'll be able to find new ways to express our art regardless.
We just got a great question that I want Mary to put up from Catherine McKinnon here. Is there a donation link for Deaf West? Yes, of course.
Always www.deafwest.org. And
yeah,
thank you so much, Catherine. Love you.
Yes. Please do donate. Deaf West is an incredible organization. I want to ask you about how you choose revivals to do. Do you just choose a great player, a great musical, or are you looking specifically? Yeah, go ahead.
I think that we at Deaf West, we're a rather mature theater company. We've been through several productions, and I think the formula at this point that works for us is to find material that has the ability to be expressed in sign language, the ability to highlight deaf culture or deaf community through that lens, of course. But we look for a script that shows the ability to highlight a different culture, community. For very often, I'll read a script that a director will bring in, and I'll read it for hours. And it takes me hours to try and figure out how we can do this show in a way that's relevant to the deaf community and are also aesthetically pleasing and artistically satisfying. And I think one of the criteria we look at is, what do we as Deaf West bring to the material? What do we do that's unique that nobody else does? And how can we shape this material into a diamond, that is satisfactory for our audience who is sophisticated and doesn't want just any old material presented in sign language, but something that highlights the story. And that's what we do as a theater company. That's what we look for.
So Wayne Stafford just now asked, what is the work you've always wanted to do? Maybe it's one of those that you can't get the rights to because of me.
Hamilton. I mean, maybe someday when rights become available, who knows, 50 years from now, we'd love to do Hamilton.
How do you think, on the other side of the lights, how do you think we're doing in terms of accessibility for deaf audiences in general, on Broadway, off Broadway, and regionally?
I think since Spring Awakening, productions have been inspired to help out. I think that changed a lot on Broadway. I think that was 4 or 5 years ago we were there, and accessibility has increased greatly. We do have captions now at the Gala Pro. That's an app, the Gala Pro, that app that I put on my phone, and I can get subtitles for so many Broadway shows now. That's become standard. That's helped me as a theater fan, and at the same time allowed me to get out there and to watch these shows. I really enjoy having interpreters on stage. That's my personal preference, and I am seeing an increase in that. There was a time when that didn't happen so often, and it's happening. We love the choice. Choices are very important for me. I've been a part of Deaf West for a long time, and only because I had accessibility to theater when I was a kid, right? Because Deaf West existed, I became a theater fan. So I have to think about creating theater fans for the younger deaf community, and we have to find a way for them to become fans, and accessibility is that way. So I'm very thankful for what our production did. I remember all the hard work that you did specifically to increase accessibility with the panel that we put together, and it's all had a great ripple effect and has changed things for the better. I can see that. So thank you, Ken.
My pleasure. I'm so glad you mentioned interpreters. And first of all, James, you're doing a wonderful job here, so thank you. Because one of the things that Spring Awakening taught me was the incredible artistry of interpreting and the beauty that they can give to a production. So I'm not surprised to hear that that's the type of interpretation that you would like to see versus an app. What is a show? What is your favorite show that you've seen that is not your own? What's your favorite one that you've seen interpreted?
You know, in Los Angeles, we go to a lot of productions that are put on by the Center Theater Group. They have 3 theaters up there. I'm trying to remember a specific production where I was taken by the performance and the work of the interpreters. There's so many to choose from. Not one doesn't come to mind, but the fact is the 2 interpreters that they have now with the Center Theater Group have been there for a while, and they add so much to the show because I've seen the show with and without interpreters, or I could watch the captions and have the interpreter. And to be honest, having both gives me double the pleasure. And I'm sure in 5 minutes I'm going to go, oh yeah, that one show was awesome. But for me, honestly, all of them blend together as wonderful theatrical experiences. But I'll mention them if I think of it. And and another thing, Ken, I really love that very often people come up to the interpreters after the show and congratulate them on how great they did. And I always look over there and I wonder, well, how would you know? But I guess that's nice of them to say, though. Anyways.
What are you doing again, one of the things I love about working with you is that you always have a smile on your face. You're always making people laugh, even now. What are you doing to stay positive during this time, especially with all of your actors and your artists, and keeping them up at a time when I'm sure, as you said, it's harder for your community to even get information at times? How are you keeping them motivated as a leader?
Well, I think my smile actually is a survival tactic. I smile so I can get through the day and in the process of making theater. But no, I've learned so much from Ed Waterstreet, the original founder of Deaf West Theater. And he's always carried himself with grace and humor in the moment, and always able to diffuse and encourage. And I've taken many cues from him. I may look happy-go-lucky, but I'm always working inside on what's going to happen with our next production, and solving problems in my mind, and thinking about our community in Los Angeles, and thinking about how to get the wonderful people of Los Angeles into our theater with this wonderful, gorgeous weather we have and all the other entertainment we have here, and just thinking about how to get people to return to theater. And the theater brings a smile to my face. And when will we all be back? I don't know, 6 months, 8 months. But those are the thoughts that have been going through my head since I took over here at Deaf West. And I smile through it all. I do feel a sense of duty to the deaf talent, to the deaf actors, to the deaf artists who are out there. I do feel like they have so much talent, and there is so much talent out there, and I need to find more reason to put them on stage and use my abilities to influence other people to put them on stage or behind the camera or in front of the camera. And that's what my mind is working on day in, day out. And, I think this is the time, quite frankly, to look at other avenues, other ways to spend brain power on. The video comes to mind, streaming, pre-tape productions, developing productions on film that are theatrical based. It's becoming clear to me now that making the theater is the hard part, but getting it out there and marketing it and having an audience for that product is becoming the hard part.
Have many companies right now are doing virtual readings or one night streaming events. Will Deaf West do anything over the next several weeks? Have you done anything so far with this technology?
We're looking into it. Definitely. We're definitely researching that. We're working on a couple of things right now. We do have a great one-woman show that we think we'd like to do, and we're actually working on that right now. Hopefully we can bring content, theater to the audience and show the craft and the talent of the deaf community and keep that out there in people's minds during this time as entertainment. We are an art form that has to be nurtured and has to be carried and witnessed to be relevant.
What is one thing that the hearing theater makers out there, the hearing theater community out there can do to help integrate our two theater communities? And just have one theater. What can we do to help get the deaf theater and the hearing theater together?
I think it's always just provide access. I see every day posting about streaming plays, streaming this, streaming that. Great companies, but we don't know if they're going to be captioned. We're not being told if they're going to be captioned or subtitled. And I think people like me would look at that and just let it go. I understand that adds to the cost and the responsibility of making theater, and it's looked at as a burden. But people who light that fire in the deaf audience in their hearts now can expect returns later, and perhaps the cost of subtitling a production will pay off very quickly. And that's the way we like to look at it.
Mary, throw up that link to Deaf West website again. Put that into the comment section so we can try to raise some money for that incredible organization and get that show up. Thank you for being here, my friend. It's good to see you again.
My honor to be here. Thank you for having us. We love you, Ken. Stay safe. Be well, all of you.
You too. You too, my friend. That was DJ Kurs, the artistic director. Very smart, very talented, and very, very funny man that I had the pleasure of working with on our production of Spring Awakening several years ago, directed by Michael Arden. It's so good to see him again. They do great work. Go see a Deaf West show if you're in Los Angeles. Sounds like they're trying to get their show going, or a new show going in the fall. So go check it out. They do brilliant, brilliant work. And if you haven't seen anything of theirs, it's truly a thing of beauty. So go check that out. Thank you for being here tonight. Don't forget about the Actors Fund as well, but I even think the Actors Fund wouldn't mind if you took a little break from them and gave some cash to Deaf West to keep what they're doing going. Don't forget to stay safe, stay healthy, and stay home. Mary, who do we have tomorrow night? Gideon Glick. Gideon Glick, everybody, from the original Spring Awakening. The original Spring Awakening's Gideon Glick, To Kill a Mockingbird. He just did a gig in Little Shop. He'll be here tomorrow night talking about what he's been up to, and I'll give you a little teaser. He's been up to some amazing work with a big charity. He'll tell you all about the stuff that he and Celia Keenan-Bolger have been doing together. That's tomorrow night, but now it's time for something to make you smile. This kid, I mean, talk about a kid that's going somewhere. So I've known Joshua Turchin for many years now, and his family as well, and he keeps just popping up in my life. it's not just my life. He keeps popping up everywhere. He's in this show. He's in that show. He's in this other show. I put him in a show. He wrote a show that was in the Rave Theater Festival last year and got tremendous amounts of press. And now, of course, he has also joined the streaming community. He's got a brand new show. Mary, you got a banner for what that sucker is? The Early Night Show with Joshua Turchin. It's like a talk show, cabaret show. He brings on other kids. He talks to them. It's amazing. He's what, 12 now, 13 now? I don't even think I mentioned it. I'm telling you right now, watch this episode, watch this sucker, read this kid. This kid is going to do something big because he's doing so much stuff right now as a 12-year-old. And I'm a big, 13 maybe, I'm a big believer, like accomplishing great things is partly just a matter of putting more stuff out there in the world. It's the 10,000 hour rule if you follow Malcolm Gladwell. And that theory, you just put 10,000 hours of practice in, you're going to be a master. Joshua Turchin is starting very young. He is going to be a master. He's going to create something very special. Go check out this show, any of the other things he's doing, because I'm telling you, give him 10 years, he's going to be doing some incredible stuff. And you'll be able to say, I saw him when he was something to make you smile on the Producer's Perspective Live. Okay, everybody, that's it for tonight. Join us tomorrow with Gideon Glick. Thank you so much. Stay safe. We get through this tomorrow. And don't forget about tomorrow night, the webinar, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock tomorrow night. Show that screen one more time, Mary. She didn't. There you go. Link in the comments. Go check that out. We'll see you there and then. Thanks, everybody.